Yesterday, I went to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor. I was hopeful this physician would be able to help me with the pain I'm having in my trachea. However, things did not go as planned. Let me tell you about the visit. When I arrived, I was promptly taken back to an examination room at my appointment time. A medical assistant looked through my paperwork. She saw I was referred to this doctor by my pulmonologist. She asked me, "You are here to see the doctor because you have pain in your trachea?" I said yes. The woman then left. A male nurse quickly appeared and asked me a few more questions. He then disappeared. A few minutes later, the doctor walked into the room. He asked me what was bothering me. I said my pulmonologist referred me because I'm having pain in my trachea. It is believed I have granulation tissue in my trachea, which may be causing tracheal stenosis. The doctor felt my neck and had me stick out my tongue. The doctor placed the scope down my tracheostomy tube and quickly looked at my trachea. He said my trachea was fine. He said, "You do not have tracheal stenosis. You may have inflammation or scar tissue, but it is not tracheal stenosis." He continued, "Take Tylenol for the pain and stop inflating the cuff on your tracheostomy tube. You probably should change to a cuffless tracheostomy tube." I interrupted the physician. "Sir, I have respiratory failure. I need the cuff on my tracheostomy tube inflated or I will go into respiratory distress." The doctor waved off my concerns and told me to stop inflating the cuff on my tracheostomy tube. I interjected and said, "My pulmonologist recently did a bronchoscopy through my tracheostomy tube. He said everything looked fine, but I really need my tracheostomy tube removed. I need my trachea to be examined where the tracheostomy tube is, as I may have granulation tissue and possibly tracheal stenosis." My pulmonologist said this was beyond his area of expertise. I needed to see an ear, nose, and throat specialist. The physician said, "Oh, no, the trachea is not my area. Ear, nose, and throat doctors only look above the vocal cords. A pulmonologist looks at everything below the vocal cords. If you're having issues with your trachea, you need to see your pulmonologist." And with those words, the appointment ended. After the appointment, I was quite frustrated. I began looking online for information about doctors who treated tracheal stenosis. I found a highly skilled physician. His clinic is located about 5 hours away from me. I called the office. Unfortunately, the doctor no longer practices at the medical center. He has moved across the country to a different medical institute. I then remembered I saw a pulmonologist in 2020 who worked at a large medical center several hundred miles away from me. I found the doctor's number and rang the office. I asked the receptionist if the doctor treats the medical condition tracheal stenosis. She said no. I would need to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor. I then asked if she had the phone number of an ear, nose, and throat physician who treats tracheal stenosis. She placed me on a hold. After a few minutes, she returned and gave me the name and number of an ear, nose, and throat doctor. When the phone call ended, I did a quick search online and determined the doctor whose phone number I had been given treats people who have allergies and sinus issues. I was bummed. This was not the right doctor for me, but I decided I would still call the number. There was a chance this phone number was the number to an ear, nose, and throat clinic. Maybe one of the other doctors at the office treats tracheal stenosis. I called the number I was given. I praised God when the receptionist answered and said it was an ear, nose, and throat clinic. I politely told the woman I needed to be evaluated for tracheal stenosis. Was there any doctor at the clinic who treated this medical condition? The receptionist placed me on hold. 5 minutes later, the woman returned to the phone. She informed me there were 2 doctors at the clinic who treated tracheal stenosis. I asked if I could get an appointment. I was excited when she said I could get in to see one of the doctors in a few weeks. I happily made the appointment. The phone call ended. Hopefully, I will be able to see a specialist in a few weeks, and perhaps I will be able to be evaluated for granulation tissue and tracheal stenosis. The moral of this story: when a doctor is not right for you, don't give up. Find a different physician. Thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe down below. I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week. Bye-bye. One thing which has bothered me about my appointment with the ear, nose, and throat doctor: he said to deflate the cuff on my tracheostomy tube. This is in direct opposition to my pulmonologist, who has told me to deflate the cuff on my tracheostomy tube as little as possible because I have very weak breathing muscles. Here is a video of how I breathe after going to a doctor's appointment. Let me know if you think it is safe to continue to breathe like this, or if I should inflate the cuff on my tracheostomy tube to receive the full support of the ventilator.
After a long day at the doctor, this is how my breathing is when I get home. I am really tired. When I get home, I have to keep the cuff on my tracheostomy tube inflated. Here's the cuff, and here's my syringe. And when I inflate the cuff, I receive full ventilatory support. Because as you can see, I can't breathe very well. After going to the doctor. So this is how I look after a day out. And I really need to inflate my cuff and get the support of the ventilator. So, bye.